ahí viene el agua. Cuidado, cuidado, que ahí viene el agua.
So, welcome everybody to another episode of the podcast Rainmakers. Hosting the podcast, we had to Miguel Escobedo. Miguel, it's a pleasure to have you again in the podcast. And today we got two very special guests, Joe Donato. Joe Donato, how are you?
Good morning. Good to be here. Thank you.
All right. And another person very important at FIKE for LATAM, Bernardo, how are you?
Thank you. I'm really nice and willing to spend some minutes with you.
All right, so gentlemen, thank you for the time. So we're gonna start with a few questions for Donato in this occasion. Maybe in another podcast we can have an interview with you, Bernardo, when we can talk in Spanish about your job. But today is more for Donato, and maybe if you have some comments, you can add it to the conversation. So let's begin. Joe, could you talk about us about your journey in fire protection industry and what led you to specialize in warning systems?
Wow. Well, excuse me. Currently, my position at FIKE Corporation is product manager, a global product manager for all our water-based systems. So I have a unique background in that I started in this industry as just a electronics technician. My background is in electronics. So I started off servicing fire alarm systems a long time ago. I won't tell you how long, but
Okay.
So I started off as a technician. Worked for a small company, did inspections and testing and service work. And the sales engineer at the time retired. So they moved me into his position. Then I started selling systems. And back then, and again, I'm dating myself, but back then it was mostly alarm and detection and Halon 1301.
Okay.
So, long time ago.
Yeah.
From there, I moved into manufacturing. I worked for Potter Electric.
Okay.
In St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I still reside, and I was an account executive for them. Number of years at Potter, went from there to another manufacturer in the fire alarm industry called FAST, Fire Alarm and Systems Technologies, which became EST.
Yeah.
Several years later. From there, Gentex, I spent 15 years at Gentex as a regional sales manager for them. Okay. And my sprinkler experience came after Gentex. My brother-in-law is a former CEO at Viking Corporation.
Yeah, right.
And he talked to me about coming over there and working with the product lines and such. So I became the product manager for valves at Viking Corporation.
Okay.
Spent a number of years there, and then was called by my current boss at FIKE, and he asked me about this position and whether I'd be interested. And I said, well, let me think about it, and went back and forth, and next thing you know, I'm here. So I have a diverse background, started in electronics and alarm and detection, moved on to suppression, and now water-based systems.
Okay, if you gather together all the years that you have been working on fire protection, what would be the result of all that years, all that experience? How many years in fire protection?
You're gonna make me tell you how old I am.
almost the same way.
You know why we No, I started in this industry in 1985.
All right.
Yeah, so long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty large experience in fire protection system. You already talk about Halon. Talking nowadays that are some laws that trying to increase the HFCs on the industry. What do you think, for example, now that we can talk about water mist systems, do you think maybe water mist can replace HFCs? What is your vision on the next year for that topic?
That's a very good question. I hate to use the term replace because I think there's a need for for other types of systems, whether they be inert gas or clean agent. But the nice thing about water is the fact that it's environmentally friendly. And what's exciting about water mist is because the way we deliver the mist to the protected area, it has a lot of the similar aspects of other types of systems like inert gas and such. And the fact that it's environmentally friendly, I think it's really gaining in popularity. It's very, very well accepted over in Europe, starting to gain traction in the US and here in Latin America.
Yeah.
So I really see a bright future for water mist. And you know, basically it's a sprinkler system that uses a lot less water at a little bit higher pressure. So it's not something that's, you know, out of this world type of technology. So
Right.
I'm excited about the future for water mist.
All right. Bernardo.
Okay, I might add that my background, like I come from more clean agents type of solution. So when I joined the fight team, I started to learn about water. It was so alien to me, so new, because I come from a different background of more clean agents. But I've learned about water that, as Joe was mentioning, is not totally replacing, but water is becoming more relevant today. And back in the day, I mean, when I was working as a distributor in Colombia a long time ago, we didn't care about the environment. I mean, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but we were concerned about putting out fires. That's it. You need to put out fire. Of course, there was the concern about the ozone layer and that, but we were not concerned about global warming potential or carbon impact environment. So we're thinking that Icaro and FM200 were the best solutions that we had at the time. Nowadays, we've learned that there are environmental concerns that we need to take care of. So that's why water is becoming more relevant nowadays. So back in the day when you were telling someone that you're gonna use water for the data centers, they were starting like, are you crazy, man? Water and data centers don't get along well. Now we've learned that water and data centers could live together. Is not a crazy idea after all. So for example, if you take a very large data center, you put some clean energy systems, I'll be happy. That's a nice sale.
Yeah.
But when it comes to recharging the cylinders, it is a logistical problem, because you need to get those cylinders on a truck, take it to a refill station, do the testings, whatever, bring it back to site, put the cylinders back again. That takes time. Time is money, and sometimes there is the administrative concern about if the refilling of those cylinders has been, if you have the budget for that, if it was contemplated even in the first place. So with water, you don't have that headache.
Yeah.
So that's water has certain beauties that clean agents don't have. Clean agents have their own beauty that water doesn't have. So that's I think that the market is trying to find a balance when to use clean agents and when to use water. That's where we are at this very point in the industry.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that the ozone layer. Last few days ago, I was reading that fire protection systems are less than 1% that change the ozone layer, and the really big problem is an HVAC system, refrigeration system. So, okay, but it's okay. I mean, something that helps to or is like environmental friendly, like water mist, is a good option, I guess. Joe, can you mention some advantages of water mist systems instead, maybe a fire sprinkler system or traditional sprinkler system, or maybe gas-based systems?
Just one thing to add. Several years ago, especially when halon became such a concern, it dealt with depletion of the ozone layer. That was, the environmental issues. Since then, there's been a lot of other circumstances and a lot of other chemicals, and you hear PFAS and PFAS, and so there is concern about more than just depleting of the ozone layer now when it comes to it. And that kind of lends itself well as to why water mist has been so is gaining traction. But to answer your question, sprinkler systems are very economical, inexpensive, if you will, when it comes to comparing it to water mist. But water mist has its place when maybe you have a situation where the inlet, the water pressure to the building or facility you're trying to protect is limited or is very low. That's where a system like the DuraQuench Pro can step in, because we can take very low inlet pressure. We just need positive pressure on our inlet, and we can operate a system, because basically the DuraQuench Pro is a fire pump. So as I said earlier, it's basically a sprinkler system, higher pressure, and a lot less water. I mean, we're talking on a deluge type system or application, you're about 80% less water than a conventional sprinkler system. On a light hazard or data center application, you may be 50-60% less water. So there's less contamination, there's less cleanup, there's less damage to equipment. Your pipe sizes are smaller, your water mains are smaller. If you're using a water storage tank to feed the system, it too is smaller, because again you're just using a lot less water.
All right. Those are a lot of advantage. I mean, in Mexico we have serious problems sometimes with water, so this is a good solution maybe when the storage of water is a problem. This is a good solution, I guess. You mentioned Elon. Do you know if someday I listened that Elon still using in the Navy and is that true? Do you know something about that?
Speak more to that.
It is. I mean, halon is banned. The production of halon is banned. You cannot produce any more halon. However, the install systems that were anywhere, they are like you need to take those cylinders away and take those to a halon recycling bank.
Okay.
And they store that halon and they resell that halon to industries such as defense, military defense, and there is another aerospace industry. They still use halon. I don't know why. Maybe it has some specific physical properties that works best rather than other suppressing agent.
Maybe with Class B fire, I guess. Or
could be. When I started this clean agent journey, I started with FM200 and Picar 25. So I'm not.
You don't have the background of it. Okay.
There must be a reason. But the thing is this: you cannot produce any more halon, but you can buy, recycle, or reclaim halon from a halon storage bank.
Okay, so I guess there is a lot of halon on the market nowadays. Or?
Yeah, and supposedly the same kind of thing is going to happen to FM200 in a few years.
Okay.
You will not be able to purchase any more new FM200, but the install base of FM200 is going to be taken to a bank reflection bank.
Does FIKE has any? For example, like 2 weeks ago, I was in with a client that has a lot of cylinders of FM200, and he was trying to change to a hybrid system, and they don't want to discharge the FM200 to the atmosphere. What can do
they shouldn't do that. It's not a responsible thing to do. They need to find a company that can help them with the safe disposal of the FM200. I don't know if there is any company like that in Mexico. I know of a company in the US. It's called A-Gas.
Okay.
You can reach out to A-Gas. they will let you know if you need to ship the cylinders to the US and they do the FM200 disposal. I don't know how it works, but that's the only company I know.
Okay.
It's A-gas. That's if you Google search that.
They work here with us too. We know the company.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the only option I know. That's
Yes.
the responsible thing to do. You're not supposed
Okay.
to discharge this like.
Miguel, you got any experience with this with this?
Yes, but at this moment, anybody has used the service, right? But it's available here with the same company.
Okay.
Yes, ACAS is working on Mexico too, but at this moment, no one customer decide to do it, but it's possible.
Do you know how it works? If you send your cylinder
They
and
recollect them.
Okay.
Yes, they
but
can
they
recollect.
pay you something for that agent, or maybe just for be responsible.
Yes, it depends. I remember the last time we talked about it. They can sell a new one, the new gas, for example,
Okay.
or recollect the old one, but it's not like a charge for that. It's more like recycling.
Okay.
I think that there's a term that you need guys to differentiate. One is recycle, one is reclaim. Recycle is when you take from cylinder A and put it into cylinder B.
No.
And
The
reclaim
another one.
is they get from cylinder A. They do an additional process of cleaning up, like checking for chemical purity, whatever. And that reclaim is supposed to be like top notch. You can put your hands on that you're getting a really good product. That's all I know.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bernardo.
That type of things is what leads us to believe that water-based solutions have a great future, because you don't have to do that. Keep in mind that, for example, for the last 10 minutes, we've been talking about green agents, reclaim, recycle, hail, and that stuff. Water doesn't have that issue.
Yeah.
Water is water. Water has been with us since day one of creation of this planet.
The planet creation.
And water is the fire extinguisher agent, number one in nature. So
All right. Yeah, I guess if there is no water, there is no life. So I mentioned one of our clients is trying to migrate to a hybrid systems. I know that you manage, or you have one product that is micro mist. I don't understand well how it works, but for me it's water with nitrogen, pressurize the piping. But what's the difference between a hybrid system and maybe this micro mist, or micro mist is considered as a hybrid system? I don't know that.
There's, well, a couple terms. We actually call the micromist a pre-engineered system. It's a small self-contained skid with all the equipment you need right there to operate the system on the skid. So, for example, our engineered system, which is the DuraQuench Pro, that uses a pump, domestic water source, and a pump to generate the mist out to the piping network. The micromist, the propellant used for that is nitrogen. So you do have to, in the event of a discharge, fill the water tank and refill the nitrogen cylinder. That's on micromist. On DuraQuench, again, we're just feeding it water. In the event of a discharge, you're basically just resetting the system, resetting the valves and resetting the controller, and you're good to go. But there's another term out there, hybrid systems, which relate to a whole nother system entirely. In my opinion, the one system that's out there, they have their own NFPA standard. It's not NFPA 750 like our regular water mist systems are.
Yes.
And in my opinion, the hybrid systems are more, they rely heavily on the use of inert gas to put out the fire. So it's very little water compared to a conventional water mist systems. But that's basically the difference. The micro mist is for smaller remote applications where everything is there, the water tank, the nitrogen. You don't have to send it anything other than a signal from your releasing panel, versus the engineered system of the DuraQuench we can design it as big as we need to, and you have a water source that feeds it, and other components that make up a complete system. So
Joe will correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understand about the hybrid systems is that you get the water network and the nitrogen network. They run parallel to each other, and they join together at the nozzle. So you've got two networks, one for the inner gas, one for water, and they converge together at the nozzle. Our micromist is just water, just the water network. That's it. Nitrogen is used as a propellant system, nothing else. So that's why micromist, it uses nitrogen, but the suppressing agent is not nitrogen, it's water. Nitrogen is the propellant, just for that. So that's the difference.
The main difference.
One of the things that if you are comparing to a hybrid solution and DuraQuench is the hybrid solution, as Joe mentioned, it relies on inner gas. You know what happens when you discharge a cylinder? What happens? When it's empty, it's empty.
Yes, you need to
So,
refill.
if the system is discharged and you don't recharge it, what happens? You have a useless
It
system.
doesn't work.
It doesn't work unless you refill it again.
Yeah.
If you use a system that's connected to a pump and that pump is connected to water supply, you can discharge water
Wherever.
theoretically forever.
Yeah.
So you've got a point for DuraQuench. I'm not saying that the hybrid solutions are not. Yeah, they have their own merit, but if we're comparing like discharge time or availability after a discharge, I think that the DuraQuench has a better value proposition.
Yeah, I consider the same as you. Maybe sometimes applies one and sometimes another, no? If you are thinking in a very small room, maybe a hybrid system can be useful, and if you are thinking in a large room on 3 or 4 rooms with one pump kit, but I guess
And the same holds true when you're looking at water mist systems and you're going between low pressure and high pressure. Each one has their merit, okay? The higher the pressure, the more cost of the system generally. Not only cost of the equipment, but the cost of the piping. You have to use high pressure fittings, high pressure piping. The size of the water droplets on a high pressure system are smaller than a low pressure system. So each has their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to suppress viruses.
This is what I tell everybody. Use the right tool for the right job.
yeah, I know. Maybe if you are using a class, if you are protecting a class B fire, the smallest droplet is not always the best option, no? So
Correct.
I know that some brands sells that the lowest or the smallest droplet size, but this is not always the best option depending on the risk that you are protecting.
Correct.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, Miguel, you have something to question to fight team, maybe?
Well, talking about difference, we already did it, but I think what is the principal objections that you are gonna have for the customers about water, including that it's water, but what do you think that is gonna work, or why the customers doesn't want maybe?
I think Bernardo hit on it earlier when he said, you have a data center. You're going to dump water on my computer, so the people that run the data centers get a little nervous. But when you think about it, coming from my background in the sprinkler world, there's countless computer rooms out there that are using double interlock pre-action systems.
You're right.
And you're already dumping a large amount of water, much more so than
Yes.
you would on a water mist system. But typically those systems may be used in conjunction with like a clean agent system. So I think that's one of the objections, why they're concerned when you talk about data centers or museums, art museums, putting water on the other thing. But again, you gotta, the mist actually is that, it vaporizes, it becomes a steam, it has inner qualities, and it uses a lot less water. So once you got to get them over that threshold to get the cell. But the other thing I mentioned too is when you're comparing it to a sprinkler system. If you're just straight out of the box, a sprinkler system versus a water mist system like the DuraQuench Pro, we're going to be a little bit more expensive. But when you take into account the piping sizes are lower, so you have to weigh it against the install cost and the fact that we are using a lot less water, and the piping sizes are a lot different. So, yeah.
Okay.
Those really works that you mentioned that is FM approval. It really works.
I think that it should bring some credibility. I find hard to believe that like Factor Mutual put a standard, put their seal of approval on something that doesn't work. I mean, doesn't make sense. If someone like Factor Mutual stands still approval on something, is because it is a truly good solution. So. But that's the way I see it. I don't know the general public. Joe already mentioned, and we're part guilty of that, because during many years when we were preaching the clean agents, we were saying that water and electronics are not a good match, and now we're bringing the opposite message. Oh, you can use water. It's like, man, are you the same guy that you were telling me for years not to use water, and now you're coming to me to use water?
Yes, right.
Yes, I am the same guy. We're the same company.
Yeah.
But the thing is that at that time, as we mentioned, there was no environmental concerns. Nowadays, the world is changing.
Okay.
The overall perception of the industry is changing. So as a company, what we will not do is to keep it the same.
Yeah.
To stay the same over the years. Look at what happened to the dinosaurs, what happened to Blockbuster. They didn't change. Where are they now?
BlackBerry, yeah.
Okay, at least the dinosaurs and the museums, but what happened to Blockbuster? I mean, you cannot think that the market is going to be the same.
Yes, right. The same way.
Year after year after year. No, it is changing right now. Joe mentioned PFAS, PVT, global warming potential. Those things are concerns that if we, as a company, if we don't act now, developing new solutions, and if we don't teach our business partners to adopt new solutions, we are on our way to. I mean, it's not going to end good, but we have adopted an idea of evolving, going with the market. Yeah. That's where we are at right now.
Yeah, just one of the reasons I'm so excited about FIKE and what we're doing. When you look at the different systems that we make, we have alarm and detection, we have flame detection, IR detection, addressable smart systems, and then we get into inert gas and clean agent and water mist. So we're your one-stop shop when it comes to suppressing. So, and even alarm and detection. So what's exciting is the fact that if inert gas is a better solution for a particular application, we're going to let the customer know that. If water is a better solution, we're going to let the customer know that. So we're not pigeonholed into having to sell one type of system. So I think that's a big strength for FIKE and our distributors.
Yeah, I guess. Thank you. We don't have like a lot of time enough to keep talking. I would like it, but let's close this podcast with the last question. As someone with a very large experience in fire protection systems like you, Joe, what advice you give to younger engineers that are trying to study maybe or dedicate to fire protection system, warning system, electric systems, someone that has to be with fire protection? Maybe some advice that you like to give to that younger generations.
Seek out the education. It's out there. When you look at universities that actually offer fire protection engineering programs, when you look at tech schools that offer, alarm systems technology or sprinkler technology, and the different organizations that are out there, SFPE, NFSA, FSSA, there's a bunch of them, and all of them have an education arm. So go get that education. I mean, when you come to a potential employer and you're already NICET certified or you're already educated in fire protection, that gives you a leg up, because a lot of times, especially with the employment market being what it is, companies have to settle maybe for inexperienced or people that they have to train, and that costs money and takes time. So if you can if you're young and just getting in this industry and you have a little bit of education getting into it, a little bit of experience, even an apprenticeship program, that in my opinion is golden.
All right, thank you, Joe. Just for finishing, we have like 2 more minutes. So could you tell us about your vision of next years on fire protection, maybe in WRMEs, what is coming for HFCs, just like a general vision of that future?
Yeah, I think we're currently looking as a team at different applications and how we can adapt water products or water-based systems to those applications. So you're always looking at different delivery systems, whether it be different pumps or specialty nozzles or things of that sort, or getting into applications where you normally, maybe foam used to be popular, like in aircraft hangars, where now we see that water mist is a viable option for under wing protection. So we're working diligently on getting those technologies integrated into our system and having them tested, going to FM and having them get approval and things of that sort. So.
All right, very interesting solutions.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Maybe we can have another interview in Spanish with you, Bernardo, next time that we see us. So if you don't have any else to see you on the next episode, and have a great day, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.